And with Scuba Steve, of course, from the dive shop right here in Albany. And, of course, we got some stuff here. What do we have here, Steve?
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the continuing education things we offer here in Albany.
Okay.
We're going to talk about a specialty class called Rescue Diver.
Okay.
With rescue, this is a little bit more advanced. You don't go into this just right out of being an open water diver.
Right.
I know that our local fire department is now, they're getting some grant money and they're looking at starting up their own rescue squad.
Yeah.
So they're going to be training some people, and we'd love to be an integral part of some of that training. But with rescue, like I say again, it's pretty specialized. You need to be a diver first, then you need to go into the advanced diving. It takes a little, just like today they're burning down a house, they're practicing.
Right.
With diving, you should always continue to practice and continue your education. But one of the first things you would have out, say on a rescue, would be a diver would be towing a dive flag. This is a float. Mm-hmm. This would always mark where the diver was in his search pattern.
Right.
Okay, another thing, if they have a boat out, this is a little buoy. And what you do is it's just a strap of lead. You would take the lead when you're on a boat and you got a depth finder, you're riding along and you see a bump or something on the bottom.
Right.
You don't know if it's a stump or whatever it is you're looking for, whether it's a boat motor that fell off somebody's boat or if you're looking for trying to do a body recovery, then you would take and just toss this over and it would just take and unwind itself, and this would mark the spot where you made the observation on the depth finder.
Gotcha.
But there are different methods of doing a rescue, and I guess we're going to get talking into a little bit more about those on the second segment. But the first thing is you need to have the right gear.
Exactly.
There's a little
Always
bit
important.
Always important. A firefighter doesn't run in with just without training in the
Right.
proper gear. Also, when we're into a dive situation, there's something beyond what we call recreational gear. What I've usually talked about down here was recreational.
Right.
That's just fun stuff. When you get into rescue, it gets a little more serious. The diver needs to have something that's specifically made that has enough buckles and attachments and brackets. Mm-hmm. And I'll have my gear on in just a minute when we come back on the second segment. But this starts out, this is made by Dive Right, one of our suppliers for our technical side. And the first thing we do is we fit this BC to the person. You notice it doesn't even have inflation on it. This is the first part of a component system.
Right.
So we take and put this on. It has two straps that hold the tank in securely. You don't want to be out there bumping around under logs looking for things and
Right.
have a strap come unbuckled here and your tank falls off. So we have two straps on this. Then they add the amount of proper inflation they need for the diver's weight. So it's a custom built set specifically for the diver. So,
all right. Well, cool. We'll take a further look at this when we come back. Again, as you mentioned in the next segment. First, we're going to go see what Kelly's doing over at the news desk. Kelly. With Scuba Steve from the dive shop. Now, Steve, you got a whole giddy up going on here. What you have here?
Yeah, I don't call this a giddy up. This is a tech gear. Mm-hmm. Pretty much outfitted the way you would go in for a rescue.
Okay.
Now, I don't have the tank on the back or the regulators, but I'm here to kind of point out a few things that are differences between the regular scuba setup and a tech gear or a rescue type gear. This can be used in open water or in lakes or whatever. This is just a surface marker. Mm-hmm. If you're out and you come get washed away from a boat or something, you're drift diving maybe, then this is a surface marker which you would deploy. You would blow it up manually. It has a little place you can blow it up here, and you would fill it with air, and then it would unravel, or you would undo it, and it's about a 6-foot marker.
Okay.
So when you get this thing ready to go, and it strings out, it's got highly fluorescent like your stop signs. This is reflective, yellow on one side, red on one side, so it's very highly visible out.
So you can see it and other folks can see it too.
And you can see it at night. That's something you would wave at 6 foot tall. You're out from shore, you can wave this and people should have a good visual reference point on you. Something else on for rescue, there are different techniques. But everything you should have on this BC for a rescue, you should know how to use it without actually being able to really see it. Right. You got to know where it's at. You got to be able to use it. We use a short dump tube on this BC specifically. Most of them hang down to about here, which just makes more for something to get entrapped or get caught on a log or something when you're down feeling around in the muck and mud. Right. The other thing I know on my right hand I have a long reel. All right, this reel can be used to set up a search pattern. If we see or we knew a victim maybe went down out at this certain point and we had a reference, we would swim out to that point, then we would deploy the reel. You would unscrew the reel, and then you would take, in a two-man team, I would take and pay out the line. And if it's very limited visibility, I would pay out about 5 foot of line, maybe 6 foot of line. And you would take this line and you would swim searching in a circular pattern all the way around me. I'm the pivot man, I don't move. Then I would pay out another 5 foot of line, and you would run a circle pattern again. Then I would pay out another 5 foot of line, which all I have to do that, I'll let you have that much. All right, so we do that much each time. So you can take and do a circle pattern, and then when you don't know if you've been in the circle already, so when I see you, I know where I'm at, and I'm stationary, so when you've gotten back around to that point, I would tug on the line. That way you've made a 360-degree circle.
Teamwork, really important.
Teamwork. Yeah. Practice, practice, practice. Another thing we have, if you were out diving deep, and I might need to deploy something to mark on the surface or to lift something, I would reach in the back. On my left side, I have another reel, and I have what's called a lift bag.
Okay. Now
the lift bag I would take and this would not be attached to me at this point. I would take and fill this bag with air so it would deploy to the surface, and holding it out here, because if it was tangled to me and I didn't let the line out properly, now it could drag me to the surface, which is not safe. As soon as I deployed the bag, then I can take and hook off onto the BC here.
Now, if folks are interested in taking this course, whatever, they just call the dive shop?
Yeah, call the dive shop, 446-0708, or check us out online at thediveshop.pro. Right. We have a rescue class already started this month. We do teach it throughout the year.
Okay. Well, get a hold of this guy right here, Scuba Steve from the Dive Shop, and he'll get you started on what you need to get all your scuba diving stuff in a row, and of course, I guess be able to rescue if you need to anytime.